Okay, so it is now, 7 o'clock. Actually, I have 7:01. So welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us for our 2025 AGM. We got a full slate of things to cover tonight. It'll take us to 8:30. I will do my best to keep us on track. And can I ask Stella to start us off with an opening prayer and reflection and land acknowledgement? So Stella, over to you.
Hello. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that we are meeting here today from many different corners of Turtle Island, which has supported the diverse indigenous groups that have lived off the land for thousands of years. I'm speaking from Treaty 2 territory, the ancestral homeland of the Cree, Dene, Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Dakota, and Red River Métis. We have all benefited off of and been supported on these lands. Let us also take a moment to thank God for bringing us all together in this space, and for the land that nourishes us, and for the animals that live alongside us, for the Holy Spirit that connects us to work together in harmony and in God's image. We pray for well-being among our friends, family, and community, that they stay happy and healthy throughout this season. We pray for those who are sick that they may get better, and for those who are struggling to seek help and recovery. We pray for war-torn places in the world and that they can find strength and comfort in their darkest times. We pray for those who are affected by various policies that have a significant impact on their lives and that they can find peace in those difficult circumstances. We pray for the wildlife around us, for the animals, insects, and plants, that as a part of God's creation, they can breathe life into a world that is struggling. Amen.
Great, thank you very much. That was very lovely. Thank you. So moving on in the agenda, I can ask, are we ready, Ian, for there to be a declaration of quorum?
I'm just checking with Anya because I think behind the scenes she's confirming the registrations, but we need 17 members in order to have quorum, and I'm quite confident that we certainly meet that. I haven't heard back from Anya yet.
Well, while we're waiting,
Yes, I have
just
the
a
official confirmation. We have met quorum, so I'm
okay,
happy to make
excellent.
that declaration.
Thank you very much. So we have quorum. We can move on with the business of the meeting. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Anya. So we're going to move on to item number 2, which is the consent agenda. Before we do that, just a couple of things, sort of housekeeping things. First, if when you're not speaking, if you can mute your mic, that would be great. That just reduces the amount of background noise. And also, if you'd like to ask a question or make a comment, you can just raise your hand in the reactions. That would be good as well. And I will try to see you. If I don't call you and you've done that, I just haven't seen it. And then you can of course just jump in and say I've got a question. And one last thing, I'm going to turn it over to Anya before we get started. And Anya is going to explain the voting, how we're going to vote tonight, the procedures for voting. So Anya, go ahead.
Hi everyone, I am gonna just do a brief demonstration as to how we're gonna be voting tonight. It will be live voting within Zoom itself. So what will happen is that there will be a pop-up on your screen and it will ask you to vote in favor or against whatever the motion may be. And you'll just select in favor or against and submit. Now, this is only for voting members, i.e. diocesan reps, youth council, and board members. No other persons, if you're not within those categories, should be participating in the votes. So I'm going to do a test vote right now. It's just a test poll, just so that we're all familiar with it. I'm sure persons who have been within the membership for a few years have interacted with this interface. And for persons who are new, I'm just doing a test poll. You just put in favor or against just to see how it works. So I'm going to launch a test poll right now and go ahead and vote.
Are you the one who picked this question?
Yes, and here we have 67% in favor of that. So that's how we will be voting going forward for the rest of the duration of the meeting. And that's how the polls will appear on your screen. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Anya. Does anybody have any questions about the voting procedures? Sorry, I just have to zip through here to see if anybody's got their hand up. I don't see anybody, so I guess we're good to go. Thank you very much, Anya. We're going to move now. We're going to move on now to the consent agenda. Generally, that just doesn't require any questions or what have you. We just go through the consent agenda. We go through the motion. Motion number one then is that the consent agenda be approved as circulated, which includes the annual general meeting minutes of 2025. The annual general meeting agenda 2025 and the minutes of the annual general meeting from September 20, 2024. Can I get someone to move that motion, please? If you can say your name, that'd be great.
Lillian?
Lillian so moves. Can I get a seconder?
Seconded, Chandra.
Chandra, thank you very much, sir. Now, were there any last minute changes? I do believe there is one to the minutes. One correction, is that correct?
I sent you a correction today.
Okay,
Mark.
can you put that in the minutes? Can you say your correction, please, Valerie, and then we can have it in the minutes.
It was regarding one of the motions that came up in there, and it was moved by Bar Isaac. So either it's Bar Heater or Valerie Isaac, and that has to be changed.
Okay, great. Do you remember which one it was?
No, I'm looking at Bar, wondering if they remember.
Bar Isaacs is
Sorry,
somebody
I'll find it. I'll be able to find it and correct that quickly.
And sort it out. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Anya. That's awesome. Okay, so
I'd really like to meet somebody called Bar Isaacs. I think that would be a very interesting person.
okay.
Oh, it was motion 8, where it said Bar Isaac. And it had moved by Peter Walt. So I'll change that to Bar Heather. Apologies.
No problem. Thank you very much. That's awesome. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. All in favor? Oh, so you're going to put the
No,
voting
this
up.
is
Sorry,
where we would do the voting. So
Yeah, go ahead.
all right.
There we go. %.
That was
Perfect. Thank you very much.
unanimous.
Thank you very much, Anya. So we have an agenda, which I think everybody should have in front of them. So we're going to move on now to the president's report. And so you found it in the docket. There is a report by the president. I'm going to just make a few comments about my report. More or less from my perspective, how the year has gone and so on. It brings us here tonight. So as I think everybody can agree, it's been a very trying year in the world, with all kinds of issues going on that have made our work more important than ever, with a lot of wars and famine and droughts brought on by climate change. The need, unfortunately, in some ways for our work has grown more than ever. Along with this, and along with these problems, we have seen across the developed world, particularly in the United States, but in other countries as well, we've seen governments cut back on the amount of money that they're giving towards international development, in some cases quite drastic. So again, this makes the work of Alongside Hope, but also all the other international development agencies more important. More resources will be put into them in order to reach as many people as possible to make up the difference from the fact that governments have left the space in a very large way. So At the same time, as I said in my report, there is hope. We'll always, as a faith-based organization, we'll always look to hope for a brighter, more socially just future. The reality is, we just can't turn away from the problems and wish them away. Sometimes they can seem overwhelming, but we're not in a position just to look the other way. We believe in our mandate. Ours is a hope cemented to action. It is a hope embedded in our faith. It is a call to employ whatever God-given skills we collectively can deploy to ease the suffering of those who struggle. And for us, and I think for everybody here on the call, failing to act is simply not an option. So we're working here to try to meet the needs of the world as best as we can in our own way. Tonight at the AGM, which is again sort of a review of what we've done and then looking forward, the AGM really will address three things. We'll be voting new board members while we say goodbye to people who are leaving. We'll hear from one of our partners, CFGB. And very importantly, we'll be reviewing and passing the audit statements and getting a better sense of our financial picture going forward, which is very, very important. Again, based on some of the things I've already said. The other are some of the most important pieces or highlights from the last year. Of course, it was the year before that we brought in our new name alongside Hope. And now this past year, we've been able to use the name in all of media and outreach. And it's been, I think, an unqualified success. Sure, there's been a few people that, were a little that grown very tied to PWRDF. But I think overall, it has been an excellent change. And I think people have embraced it. Another highlight, and this is particularly one for board members, youth council members, diocesan representatives, and some staff, that after an absence of a few years, we continued our visits to some of our partners. And a large number of us back in February and June went to Kenya to visit our partners in Kenya. And this was an outstanding opportunity, not just to see the work on the ground, to make sure that we understand better the work that they're doing. And I know, speaking for myself, but I think I can also speak for the people that are with me, we were very, very impressed with the people we met. Hardworking, dedicated people, committed not only to reaching our goals on the ground, but by doing so, by making sure that every penny spent counted. But it also serves another purpose, which is very important, and that is that it gave volunteers and diocesan reps, youth council members, more of an intimate understanding of the work that we're doing. And this will be very, very important as we go out and, in my case, visit donors, run a campaign out of my own parish. And that's the sort of thing that most of us should be doing. And I think by visiting our partners face to face, this makes that job of deeper awareness that much easier. And I think the other piece I just want to highlight quickly is that much of the learnings that we've done, and particularly amongst our staff, this has helped us to launch a number of fundraising campaigns, some of which are just concluded, some of which are gearing up, and some of which will really pick up speed in the latter part of the fall. We know about the resilience campaign that occurred in the late spring, early summer period, which was a direct result, hence the name Resilience Campaign, was a direct result to trying to make up the difference in as small a way as possible for some of the funding that had been lost to some of our partners. And I'm glad to say with the fundraising team and the outreach team, they surpassed their $500,000 goal, which was an awesome result. Right now, we have a second phase of the campaign called Coming Alongside Hope with Light. And that, again, is otherwise known as the Solar Suitcase Campaign. The goal for that is $320,000, and this will provide funding for 35 suitcases in Mozambique and 14 in Madagascar. These are outstanding programs. My own parish is, I'm told, has just raised enough for one solar suitcase, that's $6,500, and we're working towards our second one. So it's been an outstanding event for us, and I'm sure it will be across the country. I want to make a point, as I do in my piece. I think it's not an overstatement to say that enhancing our financial development programs is one of the most important priorities for Alongside Hope. Given the financial, political, and social headwinds that we face in Canada and overseas, we must redouble our efforts to touch as many people as possible, offering them opportunities to invest in Alongside Hope and its work. As the president of the board, I know that board members share my commitment to re-energize our fundraising potential. We have supported increases in investment for fundraising and marketing. We have worked with staff to help them direct resources towards supporter relations, especially with regards to working more closely with our parishes. We look forward to new initiatives in this area with the appointment of the Director of Supporter Relations. The board has supported increased investment in critical elements of the fundraising program, such as major donor and planned giving work. You're going to see later on, when our financials are reported, the tremendous results that we've been able to realize in planned and major gifts. In addition, board members continue to invest their time and talents in this work by calling major donors, speaking at parishes, and engaging in other stewardship opportunities to place Alongside Hope as the international development agency of choice by the Anglican community. At this point, I'd like to just talk about some of our new members and some of the members that are leaving. I'm just going to mention this briefly because there'll be another opportunity to thank people for their work. We're excited to welcome a new board member after our election today, so I'm looking forward to bringing on new board members. The board was thrilled to add Archbishop Chris Harper, who was appointed to represent ASIP. We're thrilled to have him on board. Of course, we are honored to have our new primate, Right Reverend Shane Parker, join the board as well. At the same time, of course, we're sad to see people leave. The acting primate, Anne Drummond, has left. But even in spite of the fact that she was only with us a short time, we were so encouraged by her support for our new name, walking alongside partners and supporters, moving forward boldly in hope and promise of the scriptures. We also have to say goodbye to our outgoing treasurer, Shailene Caparas, who was resigned from the board after 4 years. We wish them both well. Finally, on behalf of all board members, we'd like to offer our deepest thanks to the Alongside Hope staff under Will's leadership and the countless, some of you are here tonight, and the countless volunteers across the country. The work of our volunteers, including diocesan reps, youth council members, parish representatives, mapping exercise facilitators, all of your work is both appreciated and we very much show our gratitude for you. On a personal level, I would like to thank each and every board member who has given so much of their time and talents to the organization. Alongside Hope could simply not operate without you. Finally, I wish to leave with my remarks where I began them, which is a call to action. I would ask all the people here, especially when you go back to your parishes or diocesan roles, to reach out to people, spread the word, and get as many people involved in the work that we do as you possibly can. I've listed some opportunities you might want to consider. If you are raising money and awareness at your church or in the diocese, invite a local board member to come and speak. We're happy to do that. This fall, work within your parish or diocese to raise money through the Solar Suitcase or World of Gifts campaign. Invite some of your friends to get involved in the Wild Ride campaign. It's a lot of fun. And not only that, they will learn something about Alongside Hope's work. Become a monthly donor. Very, very important. An important stream of income that we can count on. It doesn't cost us anything to raise. Is very, very important. Bring your time and talents to volunteer on a board committee. Our committees on the board are composed of board members, but we're always looking for people who have expertise in various areas to help if they would like. When we work together with the entire Alongside Hope family, we can accomplish much. This is in spite of the many challenges our country and our world faces. As one of our partners in Kenya said, Morris May recalls, small is not small, small can improve lives. Again, I want to thank you everyone for coming tonight, and I look forward to the rest of the meeting. And with that, can I ask someone to put forward a motion to accept my president's report?
So moved, Mark. Peter.
Peter so moves, and do I have a seconder?
Joy
Barr.
Coffey.
Cynthia, seconder.
Joy, I got you first. Thank you very much. Any comments or questions about the motion? Seeing none, Anya, can I have the vote?
It's unanimous in favor.
Thank you very much, Anya. Great. We will now move on to one of the key pieces of tonight's AGM. I will turn it over to Peter Wall, who is the chair of the nominating committee, and he's going to go over some motions and the election of new board members for 2025. Go ahead, Peter.
Thank you, Mark. First of all, I beg the indulgence of members who might be watching me as I'm eating. I'm on a dinner break at the a meeting of the National Church Council of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Canada in Winnipeg. And it's only 25 after 6 here, and I had to squeeze this in, so I am feeding my face a little. My apologies. It's a lovely face, though. On behalf of the nominating committee, I'm really happy to report the hard work of the nominating committee over the past several months, in fact, over most of the last year. I want to extend the thanks of all of you, and certainly from me, to Lillian and to Donald Butler and to Robin Solko, and at times to Mark, who's met with us a couple of times, to Cynthia, who's provided advice on behalf of the governance committee for the hard work that we do together. It's a privilege to do this work, and it's a privilege to bring before you nominees for the continuing board of Alongside Hope. There are several motions before you. I want to begin by offering the motion which you'll see on your agenda as motion number 3. And I'm happy to move that the Alongside Hope membership affirm the appointment of Archbishop Chris Harper, as the representative from the Anglican Council of Indigenous Peoples to the Alongside Hope Board of Directors. So I'm moving that, Mark. You may wish to ask for a seconder.
I will. Thank you, Peter. Do I have a seconder for that motion?
Or Peter.
Barr, it seconds it. Thank you very much. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, can we have the vote, please, Anya?
It's unanimous in favor.
Thank you very much, Anya. And again, our hearty welcome to Archbishop Harper. Thank you very much. Sorry, back to you, Peter.
Thank you, Mark. The Alongside Hope Board is a very busy board that does a lot of work and has a lot of work expected of it. We were very privileged this year and consider ourselves very fortunate to have had some wonderful nominations for some very, very talented people. Because of that amount of work and because of the demands that are put on the board, which we as board members all enjoy very much and do with glad and willing and exultant hearts and minds. We are asking the board to authorize the increase of the size of the total board membership to 18 directors. This is an increase of 1 from 17. This is both to reflect that that hard work that we're asked to do, but also to reflect the need we have for certain specific talents and experiences and backgrounds on the board. And we were particularly fortunate to have some very talented people nominated this year, and we'd like to do our best to represent those talents and skills on the board. So on behalf of the nominating committee, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to move that the Alongside Hope membership approve the expansion of the board membership by 1, bringing the total board membership to 18 directors.
Great. Thank you very much, Peter. He has moved the motion number 4. Can I get a seconder?
Chandra?
Cynthia, I'll second it.
Cynthia? Thank you. Any questions about this motion that is now on the floor? Any questions? I don't see any. So, Anya, can we please have the motion?
It's unanimous in favor.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Peter, go ahead.
Indeed, thank you very much. Thanks, Mark. Since we have enacted that legislation, the nominating committee is pleased to present to you 4 names for election to the board of directors. Those names and brief biographies were circulated in the docket, and I understand we're going to vote on these one by one. We're going to vote on each of these individually, according to what I've been informed. We will certainly be happy to answer questions. I think, well, it might be a little ponderous to do the whole thing one by one, but we'll do that anyway and take questions as we go. So on behalf of the nominating committee, I again am happy to nominate Cynthia Haynes-Turner to a continuing term on the board of Alongside Hope.
Great. Thank you, Peter. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes. How many people are we nominating?
4.
How many votes do we get?
1 each.
1 for each nomination.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
We have 4. That's a good point. Thank you. Thank you, Joy. We have 4 vacancies and 4 nominated people.
Right.
Okay. So Cynthia would be returning. Any questions about Cynthia?
Well, there's lots of questions about Cynthia, but I think we're happy to nominate her in spite of that.
Excellent. Okay, so moving on then. Go ahead, keep going, Peter, and we'll do the vote at the very end.
Okay, the second person is the ineffable and always energetic Valerie Isaac from the Diocese of Moosonee, again being elected to a continuing term, and we're happy to place her name in nomination for the board of directors as well.
Thank you, sir. Any questions about Valerie Isaac? Seeing none. Thank you very much, Peter.
The third nominee, Robert Orr from the Diocese of Ottawa, a member of the parish of St. Bartholomew, is a very active member of that parish and a long and distinguished career, very involved in the work of Alongside Hope at the parish level, someone who we believe brings a great deal of experience and background to the board, particularly in terms of his experience in financial management. And we are pleased and happy to nominate him for election as a new member of the board of directors, Mr. Robert Orr from the Diocese of Ottawa.
Thank you, Peter. I would just make one other comment about Mr. Orr. If he is elected to the board, he has agreed to serve as our new treasurer. Any other questions at all about
Hi, Chair.
Mr. Orr?
Chair, it's David here. I just want to caution everybody that you're getting another diplomat on the board, so be wary.
I know in spite of that, David, we decided to go ahead.
Yeah, yeah,
Thanks,
exactly.
Peter.
Okay, seeing no other questions, please, Peter, last person.
The fourth nominee is Mr. Stuart Smith, known by all as Bud and called Bud, from the Territory of the People in British Columbia. Again, a person with an unbelievable resume as a policy administrator, a politician, an Anglican volunteer, very heavily involved in the cathedral in Kamloops, and longtime chancellor of the Diocese of Caribou, which is the precursor of the Territory of the People. Served as principal secretary to the Premier of British Columbia as an MLA. He has done all sorts of work that provides him with the kind of experience and the kind of connections with people that we think would be very, very helpful for us. He's a strong advocate for the work of Alongside Hope, and has been watching us with great interest for many years, and is tremendously honored to be nominated. He was very sincere when we talked with him about how what a privilege it is for him to even have his name pledged in nomination for the board. And so on behalf of the nominating committee, again, I'm happy to place his name in nomination as to be elected to the board of directors.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Peter. Any questions about Stuart? I don't see any. Thank you very much, Peter. There's no other questions. Anya, can you put the vote up on the screen, please? Again, everybody will vote for each individual.
So you'll see all 4 names. You just scroll down and you put in favor and against as you go down. All right, so we're finished voting. I'm sharing the results. And it's unanimous for all 4 in favor.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much, Anya, and congratulations to all 4 members, 2 of which
Thank you.
were re-elected, and 1 and 2 who were elected new members. Go ahead,
Great.
Peter.
So one of the great pleasures that the nominating committee also has is to receive and review nominations for honorary associate members. These are
Can
people,
I
of
just
course.
hold you there for a sec, Peter?
You're missing
We
motion.
have motion number 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, that's okay. Motion
Got
number 5 reads that the
And
nomination ballots be destroyed after the successful election of the directors, which we have just done. It's
so
a kind of a
happy to
neat thing
move
since
that.
it's electronic, but can you move that, Peter?
I'm so happy to move it, and I apologize, Anya, for forgetting my instructions. Boy,
That's okay. Do we have a seconder?
I won't get lunch at the next meeting, I don't think.
No
Happy
worries.
to meet you.
Do we have a seconder for that motion?
I can second that. It's Ian.
Thank you, Ian. Any questions about this? Seeing none, sorry. Go ahead, Anya. Put it up on the screen, please.
And it's unanimous in favor.
Great. Thank you very much, Anya. Okay, back to you, Peter, now for the appointment of honorary associates.
Sorry, Mark. There are 3 members or 3 individuals whose names we are forwarding for honorary associate membership, all people who have been very, very generous and dedicated to Alongside Hope and to its precursor, the Primates Fund. Many of these names will be known to members, and we are really happy to ask the membership to affirm and confirm their appointment as honorary associates. Those three are Debbie Clevitt from the Diocese of Brandon, somebody called Valerie Mayer, who I seem to remember, I think was on the board for a year or two, from the Diocese of Ottawa, and Sharon Theophilus from the Diocese of New Westminster. In the docket were, again, biographies of these three people and the tremendous amount of work they have done and honor they have brought to Alongside Hope. And we are very pleased to nominate them for honorary associate membership of Alongside Hope.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions?
So maybe
See
Mark,
that?
I'll just mention a few things, and maybe Valerie and Deb and Shireen will just say a few words on screen. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, and thanks, Peter, and thanks everyone. We have 28 honorary associates, and we have a few more to bring and just hear from tonight as well. I'm really pleased. I'll just mention Valerie just to build on Peter's comments. And yes, we know Valerie. She was on the board for 9 years. She has been a diocesan representative. She has been kind of a minister of presence in the Yukon, has done many things to support the church and support Alongside Hope. I'm just pleased that Valerie's here, I think also from another hemisphere. But Valerie, maybe if you can just say a few words so that we all see you and we can all just celebrate what you bring to Alongside Hope. So maybe Anya is going to give you a bit of time to just share a couple of minutes, maybe up to a couple of minutes.
Oh, thank you, Will. Yes, I'm here in Seoul, Korea with my family. So yes, other side of the world and the other side of the day. It's early morning. It is with profound gratitude and deep humility that I thank Alongside Hope for this recognition, coming from an organization working to create a world of change. I can only say that it means a world to me to receive this honor from you. Our organization's vision of a truly just, healthy, and peaceful world has always resonated with me. As a volunteer, I have found myself embraced by so many who, like you, share a determination to give substance to our organization's mission to be a catalyst for change. You are the ones who have offered amazing support and given me much hope that this vision is attainable. I joined the board of our organization and did serve it for over 9 years. And what an amazing ride it turned out to be. I have had the privilege of serving with some amazing, talented, and dedicated people. More than what an experience it has been to help define the direction and focus of this organization, which is not only equipped with high-sounding aims, but which works every day to give reality to these aims in communities around the world. I take a high degree of satisfaction from the change of name that our organization is now implementing. Our old name served us well for many years, but the idea of coming alongside says so much about how we work, listening, sharing, and enabling all to have hope in a future where all can live in safety and peace. And on a personal note, that name holds a special meaning for me as well. My work with you and the many supporters of PWRDF has been an experience that has taken me on a long road. But in all this, I never felt alone. I was always aware of a mighty host walking with me. Blessed with the support of a dedicated and highly professional staff, a team of volunteers at the parish, diocesan, and board levels, and generous and committed donors who together make all of this possible. I never felt heavy laden because I was conscious of those who were there walking alongside me. The work was never discouraging, was rather something that filled me with hope, hope to last a lifetime. Thank you for this, and thank you for being alongside me over the years. And I would only ask that you continue now to walk alongside one another and support one another in the amazing work to which we are all called. Thanks be to God. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks so very much, Valerie. What beautiful words. Deb Clavette is also with us. Deb is from the Diocese of Brandon, has been nominated, and is also affirmed tonight as one of our associates, one of our honorary associates. An honorary associate offers that exceptional and prolonged volunteer service. And Deb, among the many other ways in which she has been of such stellar support, has been for the Fire Talk, which is all about Indigenous youth wellness. Such a champion in Fire Talk, but in so many other ways as well. But I'm just wondering if Deb, if you would like to just say a few words as well on screen.
Oh, yes. I'm so glad to have met Val earlier in my career as a diocese rep. I have spent my entire life in the Diocese of Brandon. All of my education, my churches have been all across this diocese. I was baptized, confirmed. I attended church, the Anglican College at the University of Manitoba, and I was married in our church. I was appointed diocesan rep in 2016 by Bishop William Cliff, who for some reason or other liked the name Clevitt because he grew up around the block from a Clevis, who turns out to be cousins. But from that very beginning, he was always encouraging, and I certainly had the opportunity to bring PWRDF and alongside Hope to our executive council. I had a position on the executive council and was able to provide reports on at every meeting. I remain the diocesan rep with our new bishop of 2 years now, Bishop Rachel Parker, who provides the same kind of support. And the one thing I want to say about Alongside Hope now, my entire career was in nursing, to the field nursing in public health, home care. I've been a nurse manager, I've been a nurse educator, and BP when I retired in our Assiniboine Regional Health Authority. My passion is maternal and child health, and there's just every day I turn to Alongside Hope, and I see those projects, those advances, and the fact that we are evidence-based that make me very proud. My own St. Luke is going to be consecrated before Christmas. We were 5 in our congregation, but we have joined another church in our community, and I am able to present. I have what we call the moment for mission. So I present things related to Alongside Hope, and I think that there will have been many people who've gone into our website to read some of the other stories. So it's an ongoing thing. It's my passion. I'm so excited about the suitcases being increased, and I just thank you for this appointment. It will keep me interested and very motivated to continue. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Deb. And thanks for your hospitality. Thanks for that welcome that you offer to all. Deb, we're so grateful. Shireen Theophilus is also with us, also nominated, also appointed, and we celebrate all that Shireen does. She is someone who is praying often for the work of Alongside Hope and our partners, She writes prayers, she creates skits, and gets other people involved in kind of small theater in which people act out roles, all in support of the work that we do as alongside Hope with our partners. Shireen is from the Diocese of New Westminster. Worships at St. Anselm's Anglican Church. I'm really pleased that Shireen is here with us as well. And Shireen, would you also like to say a few words on screen with us?
Thank you. Thank you so much for bestowing this honorary associate status on me. I am the humble one here who had not done so much as others. But I sing, bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Psalm 103. Living and working in Nova Scotia for 19 years, I had the privilege to know and work for PWID, for I knew that the mine disaster in Spring Hill in 1958 triggered the organization by Anglican initiative. Coming from Kerala, India, living in affluence, I have witnessed poverty as well as how people of diverse religion and class and belief are mobilized to help in times of disasters. Torrential monsoon rains destroying the fields of farmers to fishermen losing their lives in sea had been yearly tragedy there. During the 1968 Pakistani war, living in Jodhpur, just 50 miles from the border, spending the night in mud open trenches with 9-month-old baby between our legs, and while the city was being bombarded for 40 times a night, I had lived in fear for our lives. Reality of war zone in Gaza, Palestine, Ukraine, and Qatar, and Kakuma refugee camp in Kenya to starvation and millions all evoke in me to put that drop of water into this ocean of efforts made by all who belong to Alongside Hope team. For the past 30 years in Vancouver, I had been blessed to be to ignite the spark, a deep love for the Alongside Hope in my small parish. I began by claiming the Reign of Christ Sunday for the celebration, intercessory prayers in 6 languages, with the congregation having the English version, to skits of present situations like last year, a refugee elder in Poland describing her journey from Kiev to a Muslim lady speaking between emergency sirens in Gaza were enacted in the church, followed by an Indian dinner and a chocolate cake. Who will not like to have that? And seeking financial gift and prayers for Alongside Hope. I'm so honored, and I give thanks to God for my small St. Anselm parish family and my beloved late husband Daniel for giving me the hope year after year. Looking beyond, I know that hope shall release us from the tyranny of discouragement, war, fear, alongside hope, and alongside hope shall direct us to enter our future moments by God's grace, celebrating our little achievements. Thank you.
Thank you, Shireen. Those are beautiful words, and thank you for your wonderful service in so many ways. And thanks to Valerie, Deb, and Shireen, all of you, wonderful. So grateful. All the clapping is happening here on our screen. Wonderful. Mark, can I pass it back to you, or would you like me to introduce the guest speakers?
Yeah, I'll take it over. Thank you very much. Well,
sure.
I do believe we have a motion, number 6. I will read the motion that the Alongside Hope membership affirms the appointment of the 2025 slate of honorary associates. Can I get a mover? Peter, will you move that?
So moved, yeah, so moved, Mark.
Thank you, Peter. Can I get a seconder?
Or
A seconder? I heard somebody. Bar, thank you, Bar. Okay, Anya, we'll have the vote.
It's unanimous in favor.
Great. Thank you very much, Anya. And thank you again to all three members, Valerie, Debbie, and Shireen, as our new honorary associates. Welcome. Thank you very much. Yes, now I will turn it back over to Will, who will introduce our guest speakers. Will?
Okay, thanks, Mark, and thanks all. Henry Reinders and Abe Jansen are here from Ontario and from Alberta as regional representatives of the Canadian Food Grains Bank. And I'm just really glad that it worked out in their schedules to be able to co-share, co-present a really important integral work that they do on behalf of the Canadian Food Grains Bank, of which we are a member. We are one of 15 members as alongside Hope. So I'm just going to pass it over to Henry, who I think will share slides, and then Henry and Abe will take over and offer a presentation, and then we'll see if there's some time for some questions as well. So Henry and Abe, I'm just going to pass that over to yourselves.
Okay, thanks, Will. I'm just working on bringing up this presentation here. Slideshow from the beginning. There you are. Can you see that?
Lovely. Yeah, we got the full screen on that. Way to go, Henry. Good.
Great. It's always amazing when technology works for me. So, my name is Henry Reinders. I'm pleased to be here. I just was looking across the screen to see who else was here that I know, and I want to say a special shout out to Lillian. Lillian, it's great to see you again. Lillian and I were on the learning tour together to Malawi in 2018. So it's been a while since we've seen each other, but Lillian, good to see you. And I also know Jackie Koster, who I've met before, and I probably met others of you in my travels around the province, but sorry if I haven't pointed you out and we've met. Anyway, I'm happy to be here to talk to you a little bit about Canadian Food Grains Bank. And you can see that's our logo here. The mission of Canadian Food Grains Bank is working to end global hunger, and our vision is to have a world without hunger. We're rooted in the belief that all of humankind is made in God's image, and as such, God does not want to see his people suffer. This mission of working to end global hunger is a large, huge mission. And as our executive director, Andy Harrington, says, that's okay because we serve a huge, huge God. And the two go hand in hand. The thing about ending global hunger is it's a possible thing because there is enough food in the world to feed everybody. So it's not that we can't do it. It's just there's an awful lot of work to be done to make it happen. The Food Grains Bank is made up of these 15 members, all of whom you see listed here on this particular slide. And as Will just mentioned, alongside Hope is one of those 15 members, and we're so glad that you're a part of that. I do want to point out, because I've heard from other people that have talked about this, that sometimes they think we're in competition with the local agency or the church agency, and that's not the case at all. This is very much a collaborative effort where we support each of these members as best we can. What you may not know is that the bank part of the Food Grains Bank is that we have an account for every single member where people can direct their donations into that particular account. There's a 16th account called the shared account. If they're not designated, then that money goes into that account, and everybody has access to that. So with Alongside Hope, your members who are donating to the Food Grains Bank can certainly specify Alongside Hope, and we would encourage them to do that. I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going on in Ontario and how we do our fundraising activities, give you some specific examples, and then I'm going to turn it over to Abe, who's going to talk a little bit more about what goes on in Alberta. So as the regional rep for Ontario, I cover all of the province, and I see lots of things that are going on. And first of all across Canada, actually, we have growing projects. Growing projects are farmers working with their churches, within the community, support from the local agribusiness. They grow and sell a crop, and the proceeds of that crop sale come to the Food Grains Bank. And then we use that money through our members and their partners to initiate programs in the countries where we're working. In the early years of the Food Grains Bank, we actually shipped food overseas. We no longer do that. It saves on shipping costs. We buy food locally, which helps to provide support for the local farmers who have something to sell, and we're providing a food source to the people that they're familiar with using. Growing projects in our last fiscal year raised $7.9 million, and we have about 200 of those across Canada. 85 or 90 of those are in Ontario. Here in Ontario, they range in anywhere in size from 1 acre, which is a market gardening situation in St. Mary's, which I'll talk about in a minute, to over 300 acres down in the Lambton County, Sarnia area. Grow Hope projects are another method that we use to raise funds. This is a member-driven program. What I'm showing you here is the Grow Hope Danforth project, which is in Stouffville, and it's actually supported by 4 different churches in the downtown Toronto area, the Danforth area. And one of those is, you'll see the PWRDF logo there. We have to get that changed, but one of those is a church down in the Danforth area, an Anglican church as well. What happens with Grow Hope is the farmer who's growing the crop sets a cost per acre for all the inputs and everything else that goes on. And then these churches are trying to raise as much money as they can to cover whatever acres they can. And to date, they've been covering anywhere from 12 to 16 acres over the last number of years. So the farmer gets the money that's raised for that. It's priced at this particular case at $600 an acre. When the crop comes off, the full proceeds from the crop goes back to the Grow Hope Danforth project to be distributed amongst the 4 church members. And that has always been in excess of the $600 per acre. So it's a way of increasing the donation from the church. It's a great program because it brings urban and rural folks together. I want to talk about a few specific growing projects in Ontario that do things a little bit differently. They aren't necessarily growing crops. And these are ideas maybe that will encourage some of you to think about ways that, that your churches and folks in your diocese can get involved with the Food Grains Bank. The St. Mary's Tri-County Growing Project has 1 acre of land on which they grow squash, potatoes, and onions. And every year after the crop comes off, or when those products are harvested, they go to the St. Mary's Farmers Market and they take donations for their produce. And they're often raising in excess of a couple of $1,000s, basically because people are very generous and they respond to this and they make donations for that food. Seed and the seedlings are donated to them for this work. And they also do, in addition to that, a music night. Grace United Church in Dunville has a very neat project. They had land and were doing a growing project on land a number of years ago, but that farm got sold and so they lost the land. So Sandra Murphy, who's pictured on the left-hand side of this particular picture, initiated a virtual growing project. And so what she's created is a board that is marked off in acres. And every spring she brings this board out to the congregation and says, okay, it's time to get our growing project going. And she sells the squares at a predetermined cost. I think in her case, she's using $200 a square. When the square is sold, she puts a picture of a cob of corn on it, indicating that the crop has been planted. And over the period of a few weeks, the whole field gets planted and they've raised a certain amount of money. In the fall, they reverse that process by taking the cobs of corn off 1 acre at a time and charging a custom combining fee. So it relates it back to agriculture very much as to the way the crops are actually handled. And again, it's a good learning tool. And they also have some various generous donors who add to that total as well. And they have raised for the last number of years over $10,000 a year doing this. So it's kind of a unique and neat type of project. Our project in Meaford is also a little bit different, the Meaford Big Head River Project. It started in 1997, and it is truly an ecumenical project, currently involving the Catholic, United Presbyterian, and Anglican churches. We do have some crop, 13 acres, and we also have donated pears. But what makes us a little bit unique is that we do a lot of recycling work. We have a lady here that you can see on the left-hand side who's crushing pop cans. Those are crushed and bagged and taken to a recycler. We have a gentleman in town who has these barrels around town where people can drop off their cans, might be beer cans, liquor bottles, pop cans. He sorts them. He's into the beer store about 2 or 3 times a week, returning these empties. And through that program, we're raising about $5,000 a year. On the extreme, or on the right-hand side of the picture, you'll see a trailer with scrap metal on it. We do a lot of scrap metal recycling as well. And that's kind of an interesting and growing business for us because we're getting known as the people to call for picking up scrap metal. And I think that's been bringing in over $10,000 a year for us as well. We have food booths, we have concerts. The picture you see on the left is our food booth at the Rockland Classic Car and Tractor Show, where we were serving strawberry shortcake, brought in over $1,000 with that event. The concerts that we do are annually on the Sunday closest to World Food Day, which is on October the 16th. So that's just coming up. We have another concert planned for October the 19th with a young lady who's a fairly well-known singer in the area, and we're hoping that that will bring out people. The concert is usually done by donation. And finally, something that's we created a few years ago was the Toonie Tree. And the Toonie Tree goes out to various churches in our community. It is wooden. I think it's standing here about 2 feet tall. It stands on a table. You'll see that there's a couple of tubes on the front of it. And we put that in the various churches for the whole month of October, trying to tie it in a little bit with World Food Day. People can drop in their toonies and their loonies and their quarters, and we've even had cases where we've had bills show up. In fact, the most interesting story I have about this is the first year we put that out, I was surprised to see a $100 bill rolled up inside one of these tubes. And I thought, well, that's kind of neat. I pulled it out, and inside that $100 bill were 9 more $100 bills. So somebody had decided to donate $1,000 to us through this particular project. So that's been a kind of a neat thing. These Toonie trees are out for the month of October. We gather them up at the end of the year, and it's really another great way to involve various churches. Very easy to do, very easy to make. And if you want some more information on that, please don't feel hesitant to contact me about that. The last one is Bushels for Change, which is a growing project in the Rockton area, not too far from Guelph. They don't grow crop, although they grow pumpkins. And what happens here is the two organizers, or the organizers for this project, give out pumpkin seeds. They also give out sunflower seeds, they give out zucchini seeds, and they tell people, go out and grow these and see what you can come up with. And then in the fall, they have a big get together where people come and they decorate their pumpkins, and there's a contest for largest pumpkin and ugliest pumpkin and tallest sunflower, biggest sunflower head, largest zucchini, and I think they're even doing zucchini races this year. So again, just another neat way of getting the community together, a kind of a fun way to do some activities, and they're again a very generous community that often comes in with $5,000 to $6,000 just from this particular event alone. So those are some of the kind of the fun things we do outside of growing crops. And if you've got any questions on those, we can talk about that at the end, but I'm going to turn it over now to Abe to talk about Alberta.
Hi, can you hear me, Will?
Yep.
I can hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, alongside Hope, for welcoming us into your annual meeting. I'm glad to be here. I'm actually in Manitoba today, but normally I live in Calgary, Alberta, and I want to say hello to Lois Reed, my fellow Calgarian, and there may be other Albertans in the group. I suspect there are, but I don't know the others of you. I also want to take advantage of this to welcome, I think, your board, who are coming to Calgary November the 8th. And I think I have a small opportunity to spend a little bit of time with you there, and very much looking forward to that. And appreciate any opportunity to talk with people about the Food Grains Bank, but also to introduce you folks to Alberta. I'll say just a couple of things, and then I'll try to move this along as quickly as I can here. The Food Grains Bank was actually born in 1975 as the Mennonite Central Committee Food Bank. It was based on the Joseph principle out of the Old Testament. And by 1976, the first shipment was shipped 1,440 tons to, I think, Ethiopia and later to Bangladesh, both of which were experiencing famine in those years. 1979, the Canadian Wheat Board became involved. And by 1983, CEDA was involved. In fact, CEDA did a review of the food bank in 1982, and it was they who suggested that the Mennonites should add more members. And that's when the Canadian Alliance and the Baptists and the Lutherans and World Renew became fellow members. So there were 5. And by 2007, there were 15, alongside Hope, PWRDF, and Development and Peace of the Catholic Church were the last 2 to join. So far as I know, no one has ever dropped out. And so today there are 15 members. In 2008, the Canadian government increased their contribution to the Food Grains Bank from 16 million, which it had been since 1983, to 25 million. And so when people ask me, one of the questions that I'm asked more often than almost any other question is there still a federal government match for the money that we raise? And the answer is always yes. But in those early days, it really was 4-to-1 because we didn't raise that much money. Last year, we actually raised across Canada just over 19 million. The federal government gives us 25 million. So it's closer to 1-to-1 now in terms of the match. Now, those slides, Alberta is, as all the other provinces in Canada, a large province. Last year in Alberta, we raised 4.4 million. 52% of that came from growing projects. We have 31 growing projects in our province this year. And if you can go to the next slide, Henry. Can you do that? There we go. That's a map. You can hardly see it, and I apologize for that. But that indicates all those black dots where the growing projects are in this province. We are probably the unique province in which we can farm almost all the way from the Northwest Territories border down to the south, approaching the American border. Most of the projects are in the south, but we have a few way up north as well. And this year, I am happy to report that so far only one harvest has been a poor harvest because of drought. Almost every other field to date has had a crop that's better than they expected. But part of my point about talking about growing projects is 52% of our donations come from these growing projects, which is wonderful. But it kind of, because of the history of the Food Grains Bank, people kind of have the idea that this is primarily an agri or a farmer's project, and really it's not. 48% of our contributions last year in Alberta came from people who are not farmers. They're contributors in other ways, and that I'm sure is true in every province. But we want to make that point, as Henry also did when he talked about Grow Hope. We want to encourage urban participation in ending hunger all over the world as much as we can. So now I'll just show you a few slides just to give you a sense of what Alberta looks like to a growing project. This is an hour and a half northeast of Calgary. It's beautiful land. They have their harvest. They're harvesting tomorrow. You can't tell. It's just this picture is just taken right after seeding, so you can't see what the crop is like. But anyway, that crop is coming off tomorrow. Next, Henry. This came off August 21st, and I don't know if you're familiar with farming very much, but there were 18 combines that came out to help. Some of these projects are massive. 18 combines took this crop off in about 2 hours, and they harvested a record crop. If you know what that means, 178 bushels per acre on barley. So this is irrigated land, very expensive land, and when they donate a quarter section, that's worth a lot to our mission of ending hunger. Next one. Tabor, also in southeast Alberta, winter wheat, August 13th. Again, a very good crop. Just keep going, Henry. This is the farthest north project that we have. They had not had a project since 2021. This year, they managed to bring it back. This is Lacrete, almost entirely a Mennonite community. We were very glad to welcome them back with a substantial growing project. It's very dry up in the north this year, but to their surprise, their crop was better than what they expected, about 40 bushels on wheat per acre. And next. The wheat harvest, 8 combines. Next, please. This is probably our most unique project, Carstairs, just north of Calgary. This is really a hobby of a couple of families who have done this for years already. These are vintage machines, as you can tell. So they seed with horses. They take the crop off. They cut it off with binders. Then they stook it, and they bring pitchforks out, and a lot of volunteers, and over a period of about 4 hours. This will happen Thanksgiving weekend this year. They do the old threshing thing. It's only about 8 acres. It's not a lot. It might be 200 bushels, but we love to say this when we talk to people about ending hunger. If we all do what we can get a lot done. That is what Jesus did. When he fed the people on the hill with a little bit, he multiplied it, and our job is to do the same. So I always like to point out the value of this small threshing day harvest. Henry, next. And that is the end of our slides. I think we're probably already out of time. I just wanted to say one thing, Will, if I can. The questions most often asked that I experience There are about four. One is, how does this work? And I'm always surprised that people who've been involved in the Food Grain Bank for a long time, farmers even, will still ask me that question. How does this actually work? And then they ask, the second question is, and do you ship grain or cash? We ship cash. We turn all our grain into cash, and that is multiplied, that is turned into food where we can buy it. The third question that I'm usually asked is, where do you actually work? Which countries are we in? Some people still think that we work in Canada, and it's sometimes a very valid question. And then the last question, which I get asked probably more often than any question, is there still a government match? And I just spoke to that a minute ago. So, Will, I'm done. I'm going to stop there. Thank you very much. I think we're a little over time.
No, Henry and Abe, what an excellent presentation. You just pulled so much together in these few minutes. So we're really, really grateful. I'm just going to pass it to Mark, who's also tracking time, if we have any questions or we need to move on to a next agenda item. So Mark, can I pass it to you?
Sure. Well, thank you very much, Abe and Henry. Does anybody have a question or two for these two gentlemen? Any questions at all? A couple minutes.
Just means we covered everything perfectly.
See, go ahead, Bar.
I don't have a question. I just have a comment. Thank you.
Thanks, Barb. Seeing no questions, thank you very much, gentlemen. Much appreciated. We're excited to be a partner with Canadian Food Grains Bank, and for many years to come. Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Thanks so
Thanks
much
for coming.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the presentation of audited financial statements. Will, to you. Is Shailene here, or we're just moving to Valerie?
I think we're going to go to Valerie, and
Okay.
Shailene is not here, although she did a lot of work in reviewing the statements, and I shared that with Valerie. Isaac, our chair of the Finance and Investment Committee. So maybe Valerie, can I just turn it to you?
Thank you, Will, and thank you, Mark. And before I begin, I'd like to read you a little bit of Shailene's note to us. And I'd like to say on behalf of the board, how much work Shailene has done and what a treasure our treasurer has been. So she says, as I conclude my term as treasurer today, I want to express that what an immense honor it has been to serve alongside Hope, formerly PWRDF, working along such dedicated team of board members, staff, donors, and volunteers, united in the pursuit of global justice and international development, has been a profound privilege. Together we've touched countless lives, faithfully stewarding the resources entrusted to us in advance of God's mission. One of the things that Shailene holds dear to her heart is that she extends her deepest gratitude to all volunteers, to donors, to diocesan reps, to staff and board members. She says, your faith-driven work sustains alongside Hope's mission and allows us to answer God's call. And you have the documents already in the docket, and they have been audited. The board has reviewed and approved these statements at the last board meeting in July of this year. The Audit and Risk Management Committee met with the auditor to review the process and the statements and recommended the approval of these statements to the board. We're grateful for the staff of the work of the staff overseeing the day-to-day finance operation and working closely with our audit firm, Norton McMullen, to complete the audit. We are grateful for the trust placed in Alongside Hope by our many donors. A reminder that the membership is asked to accept the already approved statements. And they are, as I said, in our bulletin. And I know this was just short, but is Peter with us yet?
I'm here. There he is.
Okay. At this point, I'd like to invite Peter from Norton McMullen to give his comments to you this evening. Peter?
Thank you very much. It's great to join everyone virtually tonight. I'm just stepping out from another AGM actually, so I'm just calling in here. I just caught the last little bit. And it's a pleasure to be working with alongside Hope in capacity as auditors. As mentioned, these financial statements have been reviewed and approved and are hopefully you've had a chance to look at those, and just wanted to comment on a couple key highlights here. Number one, just being we have a clean audit report. You have a fantastic team there alongside Hope, and that really helps make our job easier as auditors, and appreciate all the time and effort they put in there. In addition to the clean audit report, key things to look at, your balance sheet at the end of the year. You have about $13 million of cash and investments, including those with CFGB. And that's the majority of your balance sheet. Obviously, a portion of that is set aside for monies to be spent to pay down payables, to be recognized as revenue for restricted contributions. And overall, that's a very strong and healthy balance sheet. When we look at the income statement, which would be on page 5 of your financial statements, you will see here a listing of all the categorized revenues and expenses of the for the year. And the total results for the end of the year was a $66,000 surplus, which is fantastic. Of that $66,000 surplus, $231,000 of that was unrealized gains on the investments. And as mentioned, with a large investment balance, the market performance of your investments will have a pretty significant swing on your bottom line, or impact on the bottom line. When we remove the impact of those unrealized gains, we actually had an operating loss on the year of $165,000. And sticking with the investment theme, it's really important to note that in addition to the revenues that you receive from contributions and CFGB, you also have other investment income that is realized, and that's about $430,000 this year. For comparison, last year was a realized investment income of minus $22,000. So fantastic performance on the investments there. Overall, other noteworthy items to take a look at or just to be aware of, you will see the very top line under revenues, the contributions. Those were down this year, about $895,000. And so, when we look at the impact on the bottom line, that is significant and offset quite substantially by that realized gain of $430,000. So altogether, revenues down about $373,000 from last year. And when we look at the key expenses, they're broken down into programming, administrative, and fundraising, which is how the CRA often views these expenditure categories. You'll notice that programming is down in terms of the expenditures in the year by about $250,000 year over year. However, administrative expenses overall are flat. So it's good. You don't want to see that number particularly rising too quickly or too much. And fundraising up about $90,000. So overall, when we consider the performance overall, that gives you a good picture, a good insight into kind of how things look from a normal operational perspective, as well as the impact that the investment income has had on your operations for the year. The remaining pages of the financial statements I'll leave for you to read if you'd like, but those kind of talk about how you use cash in the year, talk about the accounting policies, and provide some more explanatory information for some of those key items that I mentioned on the balance sheet. So with that, I will pass that back over.
Thank you, Peter. It was greatly appreciated that you go through the details so smoothly, and we certainly appreciate your time coming in to go over that with us. I believe I turn it back to Mark.
Thank you, Valerie. So before us, we have two motions. We'll put the motions on the floor, and then if anybody has any questions, I'll have an opportunity to do so. Motion number 7, that the audited financial statements for April 1st, 2024 to March 31st, 2025 be accepted as presented. Can I get a mover for that motion? Valerie, thank you.
I
A
so
seconder?
move.
Seconder? Lillian, thank you, Lillian. Any questions from anyone regarding the audited financial statements? Any questions about what you've seen? I don't see any questions. No questions at all? Okay, well then, Anya, can we have the vote?
It's unanimous in favor.
Thank you very much, Anya. And now we'll move to motion number 8. So move that Norton McMullen LLP be appointed to audit the Alongside Hope financials for fiscal year 2025-2026. Can I get someone to push that motion? Valerie Isaac will so move. Can I get a seconder?
Lillian.
Lillian, thank you, ma'am. Any questions? Oops. Any questions? Seeing none, can I get the vote, please? Thank you. Oops.
It's unanimous in favor.
Thank you very much, Anya. And again, I want to thank Valerie and Peter for providing this information. Thank you very much. And Charlene in absentia, who is not here. Thank you, everyone, for preparing a clean audit. Alice and her team for all the work that they did. Moving on then to second last item, acknowledgement and appreciation to members not returning. Can I turn it over to Lillian?
Yes. I just wanted to say on behalf of the board and everybody, a big thank you to those members that have decided to not return. Your hard work and dedication has not been unnoticed, and it's greatly appreciated. And I'm sure in some aspect you'll still be chugging along, working for Alongside Hope. So I'd like to say thank you to diocesan representatives, Reverend Ross McGregor, Chris Farrow, Ruth Simpson, Bishop Jared Osborne, Doreen Clausen, Kathy Perry, and Stephen Koner. The Youth Council member, Charlotte Lilly, and the board member, Shailene Caparis. And I just wanted to again say thank you so much for all of your hard work and dedication.
Great. Thank you very much, Lillian. And again, I reiterate her thanks to everyone who's given up their time, talent, and wealth to Alongside Hope. Thank you very much. Couldn't do it without you. Finally, then, we're coming to the end of the evening. We'll have closing reflections and prayer, and I will turn it over to Lynn Schumacher to do that for us, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Let us pray. God of endless possibilities, thank you for the positive developments of the past year. We thank you for the work and leadership given by the board. We also thank you for the many things the staff provides to volunteers, fellow staff, and the board, and the partners around the world. We ask you to help the board members and staff to carry the light of possibility with them. May they approach the path ahead with clear eyes and open hearts, ready to embrace what comes next. Amen.
Thank you very much. That was very nice, Lynn. Thank you. So we've come to the end of the evening. I want to thank everybody for taking time to join us here on Thursday evening or late afternoon for those of you out west. Thank you again, and thank you for those of you that joined us from other parts of the world. I think South Korea and New Zealand were mentioned. It's been a great evening, and we really want to show our appreciation for everyone who makes Alongside Hope as successful as it is. So we're looking forward to another great year, and then next year we'll see you again at the AGM for 2026. So before we adjourn, I just want to remind the board members that we have a very brief board meeting on Monday, September 29th, online at 4 o'clock. It's really just to tell people, to confirm the offices of the corporation and to tell people what committees they're on. If for all the board members, we're now asking board members to be on 2 committees. So if you have not responded to Lillian, please do so. And if you don't respond to Lillian, she'll put you on a committee to try to balance things out. And again, unless I'll go one more time. If anybody has any comments, questions they'd like to ask, or I shall go through it one more time. Oh, and I also want to thank staff members who have joined us. I've seen Jackie, and I think I saw Carolyn there. Yes, and Alice. Thank you for taking the time. Donald, good to see you. I see no more questions. So thank you very much, everyone, and we will adjourn the AGM.
A special thank you to you, Mark, for your leadership at this meeting and for your leadership as the board president.
Thank you very much, Cynthia. Much appreciated. Thank you, everyone. It is 8:28, so we've made it in time. Thank you all, and we'll see you again all soon.
Thank you. Have a
Okay,
great night.
See board members on Monday.